Hello, welcome. My name is Miriam. I'm a family therapist, and this video is going to be about talking to children who've got learning difficulties. Obviously, no two children are the same, and no two learning difficulties are the same. But these principles are going to be helpful no matter whether your child's got dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD, maybe on the spectrum, but they're also going to be good for any child, even if they don't have a learning difficulty. It's just that the children who do have a learning difficulty are quite desperate for us to use these skills. So the first thing that we need to think about when talking to a child with a learning difficulty is make sure that we get their full attention. Just calling their name from the other room and shouting something out doesn't really work with these kids. It takes them a longer time than usual to understand that you're calling them, stop whatever they were doing or thinking about, tune their attention into you. By the time they do that, you've already gone through half of what you were going to say. So much better to go to them physically, have a pleasant body language. They will instinctively look at you, most likely. Maybe join them by saying something nice, give them a little compliment, and then you can say whatever it is that you want to say. So again, this is a good communication skill for any child, and it may look trivial, but it is really essential that you use it every time you talk to a child who's got a learning difficulty. Otherwise, they're not going to hear you and everybody's going to get upset. The second communication skill is to start almost everything you say to your child with a little introductory sentence explaining what it is that you're going to do next. So what it is that you're going to say next. For example, you may say, I'm going to ask you a question, or I'm going to tell you now what's going to happen tomorrow morning. And giving this little intro really helps the child tune their attention into the right place and into whatever it is that you're going to say, and they're going to be much more receptive to hearing what you're going to say after that. Third communication skill is when you are describing a sequence of events, and it doesn't matter whether you tell about something that happened to you at work or you're going to talk about what you're going to do tomorrow. You want to tell the events in the order that they actually happened or the order that they need to happen. So what doesn't work is saying something like, we're going to our friends tomorrow, but before that, we need to make sure that the cat's been fed and that we eat ourselves because there's not going to be any food there. Confusing. What's going to happen first? What's going to happen next? Children with learning difficulty can hardly get their head around that. Much better to say, tomorrow morning, we're going to feed the cat, eat ourselves, then go to our friends. Isn't it easier? The fourth communication skill is about making sure that your child actually understood what it is that you told him. You want to ask them to repeat to you what it is that you've asked or that you've explained. The reason it's so important to do with children who have learning difficulties is because they often get confused about what it is that we're saying, especially if it's complex or if it's got loads and loads of ideas in it. And they're usually quite fed up with asking for clarifications because many times they have, and these weren't that useful. And so just ask them, do you mind telling me what you understood? Because I'm not sure I was clear enough. So you take the blame. Or because this is quite complicated, I want to make sure that you understand it. And get your child to repeat it back to you. There's much more chance that if they can do that, they will not only understand it, but also remember it. Now, the fifth skill is not so much a communication skill, it's more about a state of mind skill. And that means that we need to accept where our children are, accept their limitations, and understand, say for example, that the child's got issues getting organized, which most children with learning difficulties have, or difficulties transitioning from one activity to the other, or whatever it is. We just need to accept that this is where they are and things are going to take longer than we would like. And if we accept that our child may need more repetition, they may need more rehearsing, they may need things explained in a particular way, they may need us to check with them every time whether they understood something or not. If we accept that, our lives and our children's lives are going to be so much easier, because we're not going to have unrealistic expectations of them and get them frustrated, ourselves frustrated, and everybody angry. So to summarize, the first skill is about getting their attention and connecting with them, making sure that they listen before we start talking. The second one was to start with a phrase explaining what we're going to talk about next. The third one was about saying things in chronological order, whether it's something about the future or something that's happened. The fourth one is about getting children to explain to you what it is that they understood from your communication. And the fifth one is about accepting the things are going to take longer and maybe a little bit more difficult. Accept where your child is struggling and work with that. So this is it for me. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, and share. Enjoy your children. See you next time.